working? Is it? Yeah, it is. Seems like it is. So yeah, there's someone jogging. There is something like that. Maybe should I do it like that? I think that's good. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning, viewers. This is me reporting live again, and I'm gonna let you guess where I am right now. For sure, it looks like I'm in Europe because it's freaking cold, and I've got my hat on, and I've got my, coat on, and you can't really tell, what's the city from the background, right? But if I'm gonna turn around just now, then you can certainly see that I'm somewhere in the middle of like Western Europe from that amazing Euro sign, and that's right. And I'm gonna turn even a little more, so maybe you can see those skyscrapers over there and skyscrapers over there, and if you don't recognize the yellow triangle sign, it's a Commerzbank. So I am in actually Germany, in Frankfurt to be exact, because there was a conference yesterday, a fintech conference in which I took part. There was a good experience. I was talking about creative finance, and I was talking about consumer lending, and so now I have this great opportunity to capture a few moments from the city and talk about something that I think is relevant. And so let me do just that. So let me just go actually in this park. There's a pretty nice park over here. Basically, Frankfurt is pretty nice, and that's what's happening. So the topic for the video today is something pretty interesting. How to start it. Basically, there's all this content out there about success and how to be successful, and what makes a success and so on. And there is as much content out there about the fact that there's so much work that has to go in before you become successful in whatever sphere. For sure in entrepreneurship, but definitely in sports and music and arts and whatever, in science. And so I'm not gonna try to add more to proving the point that you need to put in like 10,000 hours of work before you become really master at something, because that is proven and we all know that, and so it's all cool, right? And let me just capture a few of these nice looking buildings over here. And by the way, the people that work in these high towers, they're fucking miserable. How do I know that? I used to work in one of those towers myself. Not exactly in this city, but I know what I'm talking about. So this is how the Frankfurt people are rolling. Anyway, back to the point. The point is, I don't want to prove, again, and support the point that it takes so much time, so much effort, so much work, and so much sweat and blood and tears before you get successful. And if you look at any, reasonably successful, super successful people, then if you dig into their past, if you're interested, then you will always find stories of, difficult challenges, overcoming obstacles, keeping a focus, and so on and so forth. So that's fine. Let's leave that there. What I want to talk more about is, this mindset in this whole phase before success. Yeah. Because that is something that is not that much talked about, because it's maybe not as sexy, right? But I think it's very important. And just to call this phase of before success, I'd like to call it pre-greatness. Pre-greatness, and it's not a phase. It's not a term that I came up with. There's actually this comedy series called Silicon Valley about the ridiculousness of the modern kind of startup world, and there's this billionaire character, and he fucks up heavily some product launch, and for him to explain it to his board, He says it's not a failure, it's not like a mess up, it's not, it's fine. It is actually pre-greatness. Yeah, this is a phase of pre-greatness. So obviously it has some sort of comic, a kind of a color to it. Let me just film around this. So this is how Frankfurt skyline looks like, all over the place. So let me just go here because there's some construction work. And so let's call this phase pre-greatness. Yeah. Now, and it's clearly very difficult. Everybody that is trying to achieve something, whatever it is, knows that this pre-greatness is a very long period. It's not sexy. Maybe for some it's exciting. I mean, there is some excitement in it. As someone that was working very hard towards their goals and intended outcomes, and the stuff is not yet happening, so there is some sort of obviously romance to it. But that's kind of aside. Now, the one point is very important to consider. Let me just turn around here because there's too many cars. Is that in entrepreneurship, specifically in business, what entrepreneurs and what people do often is that they want to control the path to their success, if you know what I mean. So instead of just having a very strong intention and clearly taking action, determined focus to achieve a certain outcome, people get obsessed oftentimes about the format of the way of how they will get to that outcome. Meaning that people get obsessed about, or not obsessed, but like very specific on, if I want to build a company, then that means I need to raise a specific amount of money. I need to get into a specific type of market, meet specific types of people. I need to get this specific person in my team to make it successful, and so on and so forth. Even though the objective, the intended outcome, is a successful company. And then when people hit the walls in terms of reality not fitting their picture of how the path to this success needs to look like, then all the anxiousness and frustration comes in, and pain and all this kind of stuff. So this is this one thing where there's a difference between a path to success, the path to a result and an outcome, and the outcome itself. So what I'm welcoming is not to get too worried about how the path looks like, but just being worried about the outcome itself and how that looks like. And what happens is reality and universe and what have you has its own ways, and they can be completely unpredictable and different from what you expect and what you plan. So that's kind of point number one. The second big part in this whole I'm crossing the street. In this whole story about pre-greatness and the time before you reach some success and some certain outcome, is what's really important, more important than anything, is the ability to control your emotional state and the ability to keep to keep staying resourceful. What does that mean? So this goes back to a fact that the outer world always follows the inner world. Meaning, outer world is all the stuff outside. Again, career, material things, possessions, people in your life, things that you can measure and count. Whereas the inner world, that's your mind, your emotional state, your feelings, beliefs, values, perception, awareness, and stuff like that. and the outer world always follows the inner world. It's a reflection of the inner world. One. Okay, there's a shitting dog. Let me film that. Or maybe it's not. It's actually just sitting down. Sorry, it's not a shitting dog. And so what happens is, in this phase where there's hard work and sweat and tears to get to some certain outcome, the most important thing is to develop the internal climate, to make sure you are in control, not of the external environment and controlling the path of how you get somewhere and controlling how the reality needs to look like, but controlling your inner state, your emotional state. And I'm not saying that controlling your emotions so that, I don't know, you're not crying or something, but I'm talking about being in a resourceful state of mind at all times, so that you do not get don't get swayed by some negative events. That's kind of extremely important. So being and it's not about positive sort of thinking. This is more about really having the awareness that external world follows the inner world. So the more you are a master of your own emotional response, the more you're a master of ability to react to events and to choose reactions to events in the outside world, the more you put yourself in a position where the chances increase that you will attract the intended outcomes that you want for yourself. Yeah? And that goes to business as much as anything else. And so that's, I think, something for us to remember and appreciate, especially in entrepreneurship, as this whole phase of pre-greatness is very long and it's often painful, and you have to be able to really stay positively, stay focused, right, and resourceful. And what I would be interested is for people to share more about what are their practices and how do they keep resourceful, how do they keep emotionally fit throughout hard times within this pre-greatness phase, because I think that's where a lot of us can learn from such things, and that is more useful than when people that are super successful and then they say, how did they become so successful. I think that's not as useful. That's more for mainstream media, because it's just more sexy and sounds better. And this is okay, shit, I can't film it here because I have police here. There's some homeless people and some police and some shit. It's interesting stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's for real interesting stuff. And I'm so far from my hotel by now that I'm gonna have to figure out my way back. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. So if anybody hears this, then please share, how do you keep resourceful and emotionally fit in your period of pre-greatness, as that is very useful for all of us to learn from. And that's pretty much what I wanted to share today, and I will be back to you with some more content pretty soon. All right, peace out.